Welcome to the online teaching session of Arihant English Medium School for the academic year 2020-21. Myself, Fauzan H. Azhari sir, and I am going to teach you history. My dear students, as we know, Britishers were the last to rule over India. So, during their rule, whatever unjust policies, excessive policies, and whatever injustice they did over the people, the citizens of India, because of which our citizens, our peoples were very much tired. And we should know that the freedom movement had already began in the first war of independence of 1857. So after that, again, many such events happened. But we should know when exactly our freedom movement began. So today we are going to study chapter number 6, beginning of freedom movement. English education made mixed efforts on the Indian society. As we know, Britishers had introduced their Western education in India. So it had brought about mixed efforts on Indian society. The seeds of nationalism were sown by the reforms of newly educated society. Due to various movements in different parts of India, a favorable situation was created to build a political organization on an all India level which will bring together the various provincial political organizations, different groups of politically aware people, and to express the aspirations of the nation by diverting the public attention towards the questions of the nation. Yes, my dear students. So, as we know, then just policies of Britishers were going on, due to which different political parties, organizations in our nation had joined together on various levels. And you can say all these organizations, they gathered, they mixed up to fight against the Britishers. People politically had become aware of what is going on in our country. What are the future plans of Britishers, their policies, their schemes? That's the reason people from every strata of society, they came together on one platform so that we can give a good resistance to British. Now, centralization of administration during British rule. Due to the British administration, its implementation on India brought the nation under one roof in its true sense. Yes, so Britishers, their intention was to bring the whole nation under one roof. Hence, they did centralization of administration. That is, one government, one organization will rule the whole country. Though, for practice, for easiness, they had divided various states into various provinces, but still they had one administrative system to rule all over the country. And because of this, our nation has come under one roof. Due to identical reforms all over the country and equality before law, the feeling of nationalism developed among the people. As we know, everywhere same kind of law, you can say, was there all over the country, though it is people living in cities or village, tribal people, for everyone they had kept the same kind of revenue system. So because of these things, people had came on one platform, and the feeling of nationalism, the seeds of nationalism were grown among them, and because of which all their mindset had become one to fight against the Britishers. For the convenience of administration and swift movement of the army, the British built network of roads and railways. But these facilities benefited the Indians as well. People from different parts of India came in contact of each other. There was increase in communication and the feeling of nationalism grew up. Yes, students. So, as we know, Britishers had occupied India. They were ruling over us. They were doing trade, business. So, for their own benefit, They brought about new technologies. They improved the transportation system, brought about railways in India. They improved the communication system for themselves, for their own swift movement over the all over the country. But indirectly, we Indians, our citizens, also benefited from it, and due to which the people which were not in contact from all the states of India, now with the help of these transportation, communication, they came in contact with each other, due to which the spirit, the feeling of nationalism grew to a high scale. Next, we will see economic exploitation. The Indian wealth was flowing towards England by all means. Due to the imperialistic policy of the England, there was beginning of economic exploitation of India. As we know, Britishers used to force our farmers, artisans, all working class people, as according to their wish they should grow the cash crops and all that, as they were having a good return in international market. So you can say the wealth of India was flowing towards England. They were benefiting, they were in great profit. But what about us? Our Indian people were in great loss. Farmers were compelled to take cash crops, burden of land taxes, continuous famines. All this broke down the backbone of Indian agriculture. Yes, compulsion from the Britishers to grow cash crops. Then we know during those times we faced many famines problems. There was many famine. Because of all these things, the backbone of our Indian economy, that is agriculture, it broke down. Traditional industries declined, which led to rise in unemployment. The capitalists exploited the worker class. Various new taxes were imposed on the middle class. This led to growth of discontent among the people. One after another, the Britishers left no one. It may be working class people, it may be middle class people, or even the royal peoples. One after another, they impose new taxes, revenue system, land taxes, various kinds of, you can say, revenue and taxes were imposed by the Britishers, due to which lot of discontent was growing among all the Indians, and they wanted to revolt against the unjust policies of British. Western education. Due to the spread of Western education, new ideas such as justice, liberty, equality, democracy, etc., were introduced to the Indians. Yes, my dear students, with Britishers, Western education had entered in India, and with Western education, we got to know new values such as value of justice, liberty, equality, democracy. All these new values were introduced to the Indians. Rationalism, scientific attitude, humanity, nationalism, these principles were accepted by the Indians. So we were introduced to new values and ideas. And hence, because of this system, Western education, our Indians accepted all these new principles. Therefore, there inculcated a feeling that we are capable of carrying out the work of the country, and its progress is possible by following these principles. So a new thought came to the people, our citizen, that we are also capable of bringing about a change, bringing about development in our country by accepting these principles and ideas. India is a country of diverse languages, but with the introduction of English language, India got a new medium of communication. As we know, many languages are there in India, but with Britishers, one more new language entered, English, and we came to know that with this new language, we had got a new medium of communication, and it is really going to help us in future. And that was true. Even today we can experience that English, this language, had become an inseparable part of our life. Yes. Study of ancient Indian history. The Asiatic Society was established at Bengal by the British. As I had told you earlier, my dear students, Britishers thought that we are going to rule over India, we are going to rule over them. So we should know the history, various patterns, various periods of them, how they had their past, their history. Hence, the British officers, you can say, all kind of British people, they wanted to learn the Indian history. That's why they formed Asiatic Society in West Bengal. Many Indian and Western scholars started study of Indian culture, and when our Indians saw that Britishers are learning our culture, they felt that why we not? Hence, our Indian scholars, Indian reformers, Indian social workers also started learning our Indian culture. The manuscripts in Sanskrit, Persian, and other languages were examined and research was published. Whatever manuscripts were there in various languages like Sanskrit, Persian, all research work started on them and new theses were made. Dr. Bhaudaji Lad, Dr. R.G. Bhandarkar, these Indian scholars made intensive study of ancient Indian culture, understanding that we are blessed with glorious ancient tradition. The Indians were awakened with a sense of identity. Yes, my dear students, after learning our culture, we came to know that our Indian culture, our Indian society is being, you can say, with a varied of qualities. Our past is glorious. So, when we came to know, when we started learning, yes, the Indians were awakened with a sense of identity. The Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute is working since last 100 years in Pune. So such organization has been set up, established, in which people will study, they will learn our past, our history, so that we should come to know exactly whom are we. Yes, what is our past, what kind of past we were having, who were our forefathers. Because of this, you can say researches, studies are being done. And yes, and all this in researches we find that we had very, you can say, glorious past. We had a sense of identity, a good identity we have. We came to know. Now, my dear students, so we will be looking now the contribution of newspapers. During this period, English and vernacular newspapers and periodicals came to be published. As we know, Britishers, they after when they came in India, they brought about the printing press and newspapers started. So newspaper, other periodicals started during this period, started publishing. Through these newspaper, political and social awakening took place. As we know, people started reading these newspapers and a sense of awakening started among them. We came to know that we want to fight with Britishers, we have to unite. All kind of news daily of our city, state, country came to be known by everyone. A sense of identity, a sense of awakening started among the people. Newspapers like Darpan, Prabhakar, Hindu, Amrit Bazar Patrika, then Kesri Maratha started criticizing the government. So many newspapers were made, established, and due to which in all these newspapers what we can see, people are reformers who had started these papers very clearly criticized the government, their policies, unjust policies over Indians. So a sense of awakening and identity started among the Indians. Establishment of Indian National Congress. On 28th December 1885, the first session of Indian National Congress was held at Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit School in Mumbai. Yes, my dear students, Indian National Congress a new organization, a new party was set up, established on 28th December 1885. And its first session was held at Gokul Tejpal Sanskrit School in Mumbai. 72 delegates from different provinces of India participated in this session. Yes, delegates, people send their, you can say, representative. So like that, 72 delegates from different parts of our country had joined the session. Vyomesh Chandra Banerjee, a renowned lawyer from Kolkata, was the president of this session. In this session, they established the Indian National Congress. Alan Octavian Hume, a British officer, took lead in the establishment of the Indian National Congress. Yes, my dear students, in this session, Indian National Congress, a new organization, a new party was formed. President of this session was Vyomesh Chandra Banerjee. Yes, and the credit of collecting the Indians and making this new organization goes to Alan Octavian Hume. He was a British officer. Increased proportion of Indians in the administration, reduction of military expenses by the British government, such statements were sent to the British. Yes, so in this session, few decisions were made, demands were made, and they were sent to British that participation of Indian people should be increased, should be more in the administrative system, and plus Britishers should reduce their military expenses. They were, you can say, a lot of expenses was there on military, and it should be, you can say, reduced. Next, we are going to study is objectives of the Indian National Congress. What were their objectives, aims? To make the people from different parts of India forget the differences in religion, race, caste, language, geographical territories, and bring them on a common platform to understand each other's problems and views, to increase the feeling of oneness among the people, to take efforts for the development of the country were the objective of Indian National Congress. As we know, students, before our Indians, there was only one aim, that all of us, unless and until we unite, we become one, we cannot fight with the Britishers. This fact we already known. Yes or no? During the fight of independence of first war of independence of 1857. After that we came to know what were the consequences and where we fall short. So this party's objective were that all the Indians, irrespective of their caste, color, creed, yes, they should come up. They should come on one platform. We should not discriminate between anyone. Yes, all people, all Indians are one. This feeling should arouse in our mind. Unless and until with this feeling we come together, we cannot confront Britishers. Hence, more and more stress was given to arouse the feeling of nationalism among everyone. Yes, and hence the result was seen that maximum, almost all the people from different provinces, different caste, creed, etc., they came upon one platform and joined this party, you can say, to fight against the Britishers. Now we are going to see the moderate phase. After that, a moderate phase came. What are its objective? See here. The early 10 years after establishment of Indian National Congress, their contribution was very slow but consistent. Yes, my dear students. This party was formed in 1885. So, after 10 years from its formation, what we can see? Yes, the contribution was very slow of this party, but it was consistent, continue. It didn't stop or paused anywhere. Though it was slow, but still people tried their best that how this organization, we should expand this organization and you can say make admission of maximum people in this party in the fight against the Britishers. The leaders of Indian National Congress were realistic and highly educated. Yes, they were aware that through organized work, a strong foundation needs to be built up. So, all the members who were there in this party were highly educated. They were knowing the fact that without education, without strong background, without knowledge, we cannot fight against Britishers. Hence, all you can say highly educated people were there. So, Western thinkers' philosophy of liberalism, freedom, equality, fraternity, these values had an impact on them. They believed in constitutional methods. They had a hope that if we demand through constitutional methods, then the British will give justice to our demands. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Firoz Shah Mehta, Surendranath Banerjee were all moderate leaders. So, my dear students, these educated people were knowing the fact that if we remain in constitution, under constitution, if we keep our demand, Britishers will definitely accept our demand. They will think over our, you can say, demands. They will make the changes. Hence, these people had started fighting legally, and we made our plans according to the constitutions. They were believing, you can say, in constitution, that if we go through constitution, our demands won't be rejected. And who were the three important moderate leaders? Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Firoz Shah Mehta, and Surendranath Banerjee. They are known as the moderate leaders. In the session of Indian National Congress, different resolutions were put forward by them, such as to get representation in provincial legislature, jobs for educated Indians, cutting down the increasing expenses on military, legislature and judiciary should be separated for safeguarding legal rights of Indians, etc. As I told you, all the people were very much educated, they were modern thinkers, so they had made good demands so that we should ask them, the Britishers. Hence, good demands were made that Indians should be given more and more jobs. You can say revenues, taxes should be cut down, they were too high, too much, plus whatever extra expenses Britishers were doing and wasting the money on military, etc., should be cut down, should be reduced. All such demands were made by these leaders. To cause a split in the national movement, the British implemented the divide policy of divide and rule. So all of us we know, whenever Britishers see that all the peoples are united, they bring about their weapon of the policy of divide and rule. Same they did here. Now see, next we are going to see extremist phase from 1905 to 1920. All Indian leaders who were politically aware kept aside their differences of caste, religion, language, province, and gathered on a single platform of Indian National Congress. So, we know students, we were having our aim. As told earlier, this was our foremost, you can say, important demand, that we should get freedom. So people from different parts of society, peoples from different, you can say, strata, they you can say forgot their olden rivals, rivalry, all you can say, whatever their ups and downs were there, they had forgotten and they had come up, became one, and came on one platform. Why? Because we wanted to get freedom. So there were unanimous decisions regarding the objectives of the Congress and taking forward the movement by constitutional means, but there were differences regarding the working system. So good decisions were also there, but what had happened, the newly came leaders, the modern leaders, they were upset because of the, yes, decisions of the party, and it started becoming, you can say, the differences started increasing between the olden leaders and the new leaders. These were ideological differences. From these differences, two main political groups were formed, and because of these differences, what happened in Indian National Congress, two groups were formed now. the moderates who advocated peaceful and constitutional manners, and the extremists who believed in severe struggle for attainment of freedom. Yes, my dear students, moderate leaders, they too wanted to get our country free from the clutches of Britishers, but through peaceful means. On the other hand, extremist leaders, they wanted to attain the freedom. Yes, through, you can say, through the severe struggle. They were not having patience. Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal were believed to be the extremist leaders. And these three leaders were believed to be extremist leaders. In the early period, the extremist leaders, for bringing political awakening among the Indians, used methods like newspapers, national festivals, and national education. So, at the initial stage, starting stage, extremist leaders also wanted to bring about the awakening among the people. Hence, they use newspaper as a medium for awakening the people and bringing them together. They used various national festivals so that people should come together, you can say, and with this we can get a good opportunity to gather people. Kesari and Maratha were the newspapers through which Lokmanya Tilak made severe criticism on the suppressive policy of the British. So Lokmanya Tilak introduced two papers, Kesari and Maratha, through which he always used to criticize the policies of British. In Bengal province, Amrit Bazar Patrika was a mouthpiece of extremist ideology. By forgetting the internal differences, people should come together and exchange their ideas. Common people should get inspiration from contribution of national personalities. With these objectives, Tilak started organizing of Shiv Jayanti and Ganesh Utsav. So all of us we know Shiv Jayanti and Ganesh Utsav started by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. What was his aim, objective? That people of different caste, color, creed living in our society should come up on one platform, should gather at one place. Though with the means of festivals, at least they should come at one place. This will increase our strength, our power, and we can unite again to fight against the Britishers. For political reasons, if people come together, then government will ban them. But for religious reasons, if people come together, the government will not ban them, was his opinion. Yes, his opinion was definitely correct. If we come together for political point of view, then Britishers definitely they will fear that they are uniting to make strategies against us. Hence they will ban such organization meeting. But if the people are coming in the name of religion, they will have no doubt. They will think that they are practicing their religion. But though we were also practicing religion, but we were reuniting the people to fight against the Britishers. Our aim was that also. Hence, he thought and made this, you can say, idea. In the Mandela prison, Tilak wrote Gita Rahasya. Its core was philosophy of Karma Yoga and stressed that people should always be in action. Yes, he used to believe that people should be always in action. The extremist leaders established education institutions for creating a generation concerned about own language and tradition. The extremist leaders were of the opinion that if lakhs of people take part in the freedom movement and challenge the British government by struggling against them, only then success will be achieved. Yes, my dear students, extremist leaders were of the opinion that if thousands and lakhs of people will come together and fight for our rights, then only we are going to get the freedom. Unless and until we get education, we get knowledge, we unite on one platform, we cannot achieve this task. They unanimously believe that the movement should be made more severe, but they did not adopt the means of armed revolution, rather insisted for an extensive public agitation. The moderates laid the foundation of freedom movement and the extremists carried forward the movement. Yes, my dear students. So here we can say that the moderate leaders made foundation and extremist leaders carried forward the movement of freedom. So, though extremist leaders were having aggression, but they never took armed rebellion. They always used to incite people to make procession, yes, and all that, rather than taking arms. In 1897, in Pune, the epidemic of plague had spread on large scale. Hundreds of people died due to it. An officer named Rand was appointed. The plague patients were searched out and oppressive measures were adopted. As a revenge, the Chapekar brothers assassinated Rand. The government tried to connect relation of Lokmanya Tilak with this conspiracy. After being unsuccessful, the government imprisoned Tilak with revenge. So what had happened in 1897, my dear students? In Pune, how today we are facing the epidemic of corona, like that at that time they were facing the epidemic of plague. It was a disease coming out of the rotten mouse. So because of that many people lost their life. Instead of treating them well, Britishers were making, yes, you can say, they were searching the patients and doing oppressive measures on them. So the Chapekar brothers were very much angry on them, and the officer who was appointed for that, his name was Ran, and they killed this officer, assassinated him. And government tried to connect Lokmanya Tilak with this conspiracy, and becoming unsuccessful. What happened? Then, in the means of revenge, they imprisoned Lokmanya Tilak. Okay, remaining part we will see in next session.